Welcome back to the True Alien Podcast, folks, for your daily dose of the weird, wild, and wonderfully unexplained. I'm Adrian Smith,
Hey, everyone.
and joining me, as always, is the amazing Julia Jones.
Glad to be here.
Now, you've been sending us some pretty wild stories lately.
Yeah.
And today's Paranormal Probe is no exception.
It's a good one.
We're diving headfirst into the mystery of Clarenville,
Ooh, Clarenville.
a small coastal town that seems to be a magnet for the strange
An extraterrestrial.
and extraterrestrial.
Yeah.
That's right. Clarenville might seem ordinary on the surface,
No.
but you've uncovered some sources suggesting a deeper,
Deeper.
darker history.
Deeper.
News clippings,
Yep.
witness testimonies,
Uh-huh.
even some whispers of government cover-ups.
Ooh, very spooky.
You clearly want to know what's really going on in this town,
Oh, yeah.
and so do we.
Absolutely.
Now, in your notes, you specifically mentioned a recent event that echoes a chilling incident from 5 years ago,
I did.
something called the Clarenville Incident. Let's start there, shall we?
Okay.
Can you give us a little background on that?
Of course. 5 years ago, Clarenville made headlines
Okay.
when a large number of residents reported seeing strange lights in the sky.
Strange lights.
It became a national sensation, with some claiming it was a mass UFO sighting.
Wow.
The authorities, however, never offered a clear explanation,
Classic.
leaving a lot of unanswered questions and fueling all sorts of speculation.
Of course.
And it seems like history might be repeating itself.
Okay, so we've got this backdrop of unexplained phenomena.
We do.
Then you sent us this article about journalist Mia Blackwood. She's known for chasing stories others dismiss right.
Exactly.
Mia has a reputation for uncovering uncomfortable truths.
That's right.
She's not afraid to dig deep even when others tell her to let it go.
Nope.
And you've highlighted a specific incident where she got a frantic call in the dead of night,
Uh-huh.
summoning her to Clarenville.
Yep.
It seems the town was buzzing with reports of unnatural lights.
One natural light.
This time, under the ocean surface.
Under the water this time.
Underwater lights?
Uh-huh.
That's a new one.
It is.
So she rushes to Clarenville, probably expecting another wild goose chase.
Probably.
And she meets up with, who is it again?
Officer Ben Brooks. Now, Ben was actually one of the key witnesses during the Clarenville incident 5 years prior.
Oh, right.
He claims he saw something truly extraordinary that night,
Really?
something that shook him to his core.
Yeah.
And now, years later, he finds himself drawn back into the mystery.
So we've got a journalist known for digging up the truth,
Yeah.
and a cop who's already had a brush with the unexplained,
Yeah.
both converging on Clarenville at the same time.
At the same time.
This is already shaping up to be a pretty intriguing story.
I know, right?
What exactly did they find when they got there?
Well, according to your sources, a group of fishermen had called in the initial report.
Okay.
They were out on the water when they witnessed a pulsating glow
A glow.
emanating from the depths.
The depth.
They described it as rhythmic and deliberate, almost as if it had a purpose, an intelligence behind it.
Purposeful underwater lights. Sounds pretty creepy.
Yeah.
Did they offer any theories about what it could be?
The fishermen were adamant that it wasn't just some natural phenomenon. Some even claimed to have seen strange shapes moving beneath the surface. They were visibly shaken, convinced they had encountered something truly out of this world.
Okay, so we've got some spooked fishermen claiming to have seen something extraordinary.
Definitely spooked.
But that's just anecdotal evidence, right?
It is.
Was there anything more concrete, anything to back up their claims?
This is where it gets really interesting. Apparently, some of the fish caught in the nets that night were glowing.
Glowing fish.
And get this, even the air took on a strange metallic taste.
Metallic air.
We're not just talking visual anomalies here. There seems to have been a tangible physical change happening in Clarenville.
This is starting to sound like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
I know!
Did anyone investigate these strange occurrences?
Of course. The Coast Guard got involved, and their divers actually recovered a mysterious object from the ocean floor.
Wow.
It was emitting traces of radiation, not enough to be immediately dangerous, but definitely enough to warrant concern. But before they could investigate further, things took a dark turn.
Oh no, what happened?
2 of the fishermen, including the youngest, who was particularly fascinated by the glowing fish, started exhibiting disturbing symptoms.
Oh no.
We're talking vomiting, intense pain, and eventually violent convulsions.
That's awful.
And according to your sources, they were mumbling about whispers and visions of an underwater city.
An underwater city.
That's what they said.
That's wild. Do you think those visions were a result of some kind of radiation poisoning, or could there be something more to it?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Were these hallucinations brought on by exposure to the strange object, or were they glimpses into a reality we don't yet understand? This is where Mia and Ben started to realize they had stumbled onto something far bigger and more sinister than they initially thought. It was no longer just about strange lights. There seemed to be a connection between these current events and the Clarenville incident from 5 years ago.
A connection.
Uh-huh.
You mean like a pattern?
A pattern.
What kind of pattern are we talking about here?
That's what we need to figure out. But just as Mia and Ben were starting to connect the dots,
Right.
a mysterious government agency showed up,
A mysterious government agency?
claiming a vested interest in the case.
That's straight out of the X-Files playbook.
I know, right?
It sounds like things were about to get really intense for Mia and Ben.
They were.
What did they do?
Despite the pressure and the growing danger, they decided to dig deeper.
Good for them.
They felt a responsibility to uncover the truth, especially with the town being quickly sealed off and an official story about a chemical spill barely masking the reality of the situation.
So they're going rogue, defying a shadowy government agency to uncover the truth behind the strange happenings in Clarenville.
That's right.
This is getting good. What happened next?
Well, their search for answers came at a price.
Oh,
Mia received a chilling warning from an unknown caller.
a warning.
Leave Clarenville and forget everything or else. The situation escalated as they tried to escape the town, only to be confronted by an incredible sight.
What sight?
A massive shimmering disk hovering above the churning ocean.
Whoa, a massive shimmering disk. Are we talking about a UFO here?
It certainly seems that way. And that, my friend, is where part 1 of our paranormal probe ends.
We're left with a cliffhanger worthy of any sci-fi thriller.
Absolutely a cliffhanger.
What happened to Mia and Ben?
We'll find out.
What secrets lie hidden beneath the waves of Clarenville?
Lots of secrets.
Join us in part 2 as we delve deeper into this extraordinary case,
Yeah.
exploring the possibilities and trying to make sense of the inexplicable.
It's going to be good.
You won't want to miss it, folks. Until then, keep those eyes on the skies and remember, the truth is out there somewhere. Welcome back to the True Alien Podcast, listeners. It's Adrienne back with Julia.
Hey, everyone.
And we're diving deeper into the swirling vortex of weird.
Ooh, swirling vortex of weird. I like it.
That is Clarenville.
Yes, Clarenville.
Last time we left, Mia and Ben facing off with a UFO that would make Spielberg proud.
I know, I can't believe it.
So what happened next?
Wow.
Did they become extraterrestrial roomies? Did they whip out their phones for a close encounter selfie?
I wish I knew.
What do you mean?
The sources you provided are a little hazy on the immediate aftermath. It's like the moment the disc appeared,
Yeah.
everything went silent.
Hold on. You're telling me we built up all this suspense-glowing fish,
Right.
government goons,
Ah.
and then radio silence. Our listeners are going to think we hit the cosmic mute button.
It's frustrating. I know, but think about it. This is where the real mystery starts. It's the absence of information that makes Clarenville so fascinating.
Okay.
You mentioned some online forums in your notes,
I did.
and they're full of speculation.
Ah, yes, the internet rabbit holes. I've lost a few weekends down those myself.
Me too.
Any particularly juicy theories floating around?
Oh, yeah. Everything from government cover-ups to alien abductions, and even a few folks claiming the whole thing was an elaborate hoax. But what's interesting is how many people, even skeptics, admit something strange is happening in Clarenville.
Okay, but we're not here to trade conspiracy theories, right?
Yes.
Our listeners want the truth, the facts.
The facts.
What can we actually glean from the sources they send?
One thing that jumps out is the timeline. Remember that first Clarenville incident 5 years ago?
Uh-huh.
It wasn't just lights in the sky.
No.
There are reports of unusual animal behavior, electromagnetic disturbances, even some people claiming to have experienced missing time.
Missing time is in they lost track of hours.
Oh,
or
yeah.
even days.
Even days.
Classic alien abduction stuff, right?
Exactly. And now 5 years later, we have this underwater light show, the glowing fish, the object emitting radiation. It's like something's been building, escalating.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
We're not just dealing with a one-off UFO sighting.
Nope.
Clarenville has a history,
It does.
a pattern of strange activity. But what does it all mean?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The scientific community largely dismisses Clarenville as a hotbed of mass hysteria, overactive imaginations fueled by isolation, and a few too many late-night ghost stories.
But our listeners aren't buying that, are they? They sent us a report from a marine biologist who believes the glowing fish could be evidence of bioluminescent organisms never before seen.
Right.
And you also flagged that declassified government document.
I did.
Hinting at the possibility of underwater sonar experiments in the area around the same time as the first incident. That's right.
So we've got potential scientific explanations.
We do.
But they don't really explain everything, do they?
Not everything.
The visions of the underwater city, the sudden appearance of that massive disk.
Yeah, it's a lot to explain away.
Exactly. This is where we have to consider the possibility that something else is at play. Something beyond our current understanding.
Something else.
What if those fishermen weren't hallucinating?
What if they weren't?
What if there really is an underwater civilization, perhaps one far more advanced than our own?
That's a very interesting possibility.
Oh, hold on, day, Julia. Are we suggesting aliens are living rent-free beneath the waves?
Maybe.
I mean, it's a cool idea.
It is cool.
But is there any evidence to support it?
Direct evidence. Not yet.
Okay.
But think about the recurring themes in the Clarenville stories. Strange lights, electromagnetic disturbances, missing time, even those whispers of government cover-ups. It's like pieces of a puzzle, and we're just starting to see how they might fit together. Okay, starting to get a little goosebumpy here. But if there is something down there, something intelligent, why all the secrecy? Why not just come up and say hello?
That's a question a lot of people have asked. Maybe they're not ready for us, or maybe we're not ready for them. Or perhaps their methods of communication are so different from ours that we just haven't figured out how to listen yet.
So where do we go from here?
Right.
We've got tantalizing hints.
We do.
Intriguing possibilities.
We do.
But no concrete answers.
Yeah.
What's the next step in our paranormal probe?
Well, you highlighted a particularly intriguing theory in your notes. The idea that Clarenville isn't just a random hotspot of activity, but rather a threshold, a point of contact between our world and something else.
A threshold? You mean like a doorway to another dimension or something?
That's one way to think about it.
Things are about to get really trippy, aren't they?
They might.
So Clarenville is like a cosmic Grand Central Station with interdimensional trains pulling in and out.
Yeah.
This is where I usually ask if someone spiked my coffee.
Think of it less like a train station and more like a magnetic field.
Yep.
Certain places on Earth might have unique energetic properties that make them more susceptible to these kinds of phenomena. The source you highlighted, a researcher named Dr. Anya Sharma, suggests that the geological formations in the Clarenville area could be creating these anomalies.
So it's not little green men.
Maybe not.
It's Mother Earth throwing a cosmic rave.
Well, maybe not a rave exactly.
I'm trying to picture tectonic plates, spinning disco balls, molten lava doing the wave.
Well, it's probably a bit more complex than that. But Dr. Sharma's work focuses on the intersection of quantum physics and geology. She believes that certain rock formations, particularly those containing quartz crystals, could be acting as amplifiers or conduits for energy we don't yet fully understand.
And this ties back into Clarenville how? Did our listeners send us a geology report on the area?
They did. And it's quite fascinating. Clarenville sits atop a unique geological formation, a massive deposit of quartz crystal that runs deep beneath the ocean floor.
Wow.
Dr. Sharma theorizes that this could be creating a sort of energy vortex.
An energy vortex.
Attracting unusual phenomena, perhaps even acting as a beacon for beings from other dimensions.
Oh, hey, I'm starting to see the connection.
Yeah.
So instead of spaceships zipping across galaxies, we've got interdimensional beings popping in and out through a cosmic back door in Clarenville.
It's possible.
That's a pretty wild thought.
It is pretty wild.
But what about Mia and Ben? They were literally face to face with that giant disc. Did they get sucked into another dimension? Did they find answers or just more questions?
Unfortunately, the sources you provided end with that cliffhanger. We're left with the image of the disc and then the silence.
Silence.
But that doesn't mean their story is over.
Yeah.
Maybe they found something extraordinary, something that challenged their very understanding of reality. Or perhaps they were forced to confront truths that were simply too dangerous to reveal.
So we're back to the unknown.
Back to the unknown.
Classic Clarenville. But even without knowing their fate,
right,
what can we learn from Mia and Ben's experience?
Their story reminds us that sometimes the search for truth leads us down unexpected paths. It challenges us to consider the possibility that the universe is far stranger and more wondrous than we can possibly imagine.
And then sometimes the best answers are the ones that lead to even more questions.
Exactly. The Clarenville case is a reminder that mystery is an integral part of the human experience. It's what drives us to explore, to question, to push the boundaries of our understanding.
Well said, Julia. Well said. It seems Clarenville will remain an enigma, a place that sparks our imagination and keeps us gazing at the sky, wondering what else might be out there. Welcome back, listeners, to the True Alien Podcast. Adrian here, back with Julia for the final chapter of our Clarenville saga.
Hello, everyone.
We've gone from glowing fish to shadowy government agencies. And now we're teetering on the edge of a truly mind-bending theory.
It's a wild one.
Clarenville as a threshold, a gateway to something else.
Don't think
Last time things got pretty cosmic.
they did.
Fill us in, Julia. What exactly does this threshold idea entail?
Well, it's a concept that's been gaining traction in certain circles, especially among those who believe Clarenville isn't just experiencing isolated incidents, but rather it's a point where the veil between our reality and other realities or dimensions is particularly thin.
Okay, so not your average tourist destination then.
Definitely not.
You're saying Clarenville is like a cosmic Grand Central Station with interdimensional trains pulling in and out.
Yeah.
This is where I usually ask if someone spiked my coffee.
Haha. I get it. Think of it less like a train station and more like a magnetic field.
Yeah.
Certain places on Earth might have unique energetic properties that make them more susceptible to these kinds of phenomena. The source you highlighted, a researcher named Dr. Anya Sharma, suggests that the geological formations in the Clarenville area could be creating these anomalies.
So it's not little green men.
Maybe not.
It's Mother Earth throwing a cosmic rave. Trying to picture it. Tectonic plates spinning disco balls, molten lava doing the wave.
Well, it's probably a bit more complex than that, but Dr. Sharma's work focuses on the intersection of quantum physics and geology. She believes that certain rock formations, particularly those containing quartz crystals, could be acting as amplifiers or conduits for energy we don't yet fully understand.
And this ties back into Clarenville how? Did our listeners send us a geology report on the area?
They did, and it's quite fascinating. Clarenville sits atop a unique geological formation, a massive deposit of quartz crystal that runs deep beneath the ocean floor.
Oh.
Dr. Sharma theorizes that this could be creating a sort of energy vortex.
An energy vortex.
Attracting unusual phenomena, perhaps even acting as a beacon for beings from other dimensions.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connection. So instead of spaceships zipping across galaxies, we've got interdimensional beings popping in and out through a cosmic backdoor in Clarenville.
It's possible.
That's a pretty wild thought. But what about Mia and Ben? They were literally face-to-face with that giant disc. Did they get sucked into another dimension? Did they find answers or just more questions?
Unfortunately, the sources you provided end with that cliffhanger. We're left with the image of the disc and then silence. But that doesn't mean their story is over. Maybe they found something extraordinary, something that challenged their very understanding of reality. Or perhaps they were forced to confront truths that were simply too dangerous to reveal.
So we're back to the unknown classic Clarenville.
Yeah.
But even without knowing their fate, what can we learn from Mia and Ben's experience?
Their story reminds us that sometimes the search for truth leads us down unexpected paths. It challenges us to consider the possibility that the universe is far stranger and more wondrous than we can possibly imagine.
And that sometimes the best answers are the ones that lead to even more questions.
Exactly. The Clarenville case is a reminder that mystery is an integral part of the human experience. It's what drives us to explore, to question, to push the boundaries of our understanding.
Well said, Julia. Well said. It seems Clarenville will remain an enigma, a place that sparks our imagination and keeps us gazing at the sky, wondering what else might be out there. Listeners, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on the Clarenville threshold? Do you think Mia and Ben found answers, or were they swallowed by the unknown? Head over to our social media and share your theories. And until next time, keep those eyes on the skies. And remember, the truth is out there somewhere beyond the Clarenville threshold, and maybe it's closer than we think. That's it for this episode of the True Alien Podcast. Until next time, folks, don't forget to rate and follow the show for more mind-bending encounters with the unknown.